Hello, my name is Jim Hanna, and I am a teacher at Mount Vernon, Ohio, at the Learning Center, a school designed for ED students. And the system I chose to learn more about was called level systems, which are used to modify especially students with ED behaviors. So, a little bit about ED behaviors. They are the students that have ED behaviors are the most difficult to teach due to being disruptive, destructive, aggressive, and defiant. Level systems are used to shape behaviors and create self-management. A little bit of background on level systems. They were first used in residential programs and hospital settings in the 1960s. In 1968, they were introduced into academic setting by a man named Hewitt using a 7-tiered goal system. Hewitt's model was then expanded into the Madison School Plan and a 4-tier system, with the 4th tier goal being placed back into a gen ed setting for these students. In 1974, an achievement place model was developed for youth offenders in which they earned points with different scheduled reinforcements that were associated with different levels of rewards. Today's level systems are typically modeled after these two programs. So if we look at my first tab, you'll see these are the common characteristics of children with EBD. They have externalized behaviors, noncompliance, temper tantrums, property destruction, threats of violence or violence toward peers and or teachers, internalizing behaviors, overly shy or immature, withdrawn, hypochondria, easily upset, and difficult to calm. I see a lot of these with the students and the other students within our school, typically because that's what we are. And I'm sure most of you have seen these examples in your settings as well. Level system targets. These are the things that level reward systems targets within our students when we use them. A level system lists and organizes behavior targets and their consequences in a kind of hierarchy or set of levels. They can be long-term, progressive, or consecutive. They can be daily or short-term, meaning you can use a level system for a day, a class period, or all week, depending on how you set it up. They can be successive or cumulative. They can relate to small or large events, such as playing a computer, field trip, recess, events happening within the school or in the classroom. You can incorporate special privileges depending upon the level, which means you can let the children go down the hallway to another class, ability to work in groups, work by themselves, work in large groups or larger school settings within many classrooms. And they can be related to zones within the classroom, such as individual seat work, in pairs, in groups, in a reading corner, in a reading group, etc. Some of the reasons that we observe behaviors, collect data, and design interventions for these students with EBD, I thought would be kind of relative to why we do this, fall under the 7 dimensions of applied behavior analysis. Applied behaviors change must be socially significant for participants improving their daily life. So whatever we do to change our students' life must affect their day-to-day academic or social skills within the school setting. Behavioral, their behavior must be observable and measurable in order for it to be changed. Hence, this is why we do our data collection. Are they having observable behavior? Is it measurable? To what extent is it measurable? Can we change it? Analytic, and a functional relationship between an intervention and an increase or decrease in behavior has occurred. So that's when we take our data and we determine, is the behavior still occurring, is it increasing, or is it decreasing, and we can fade our intervention away. Technological, when all procedures are clearly defined and described with enough detail that they can be replicated by another individual. To me, this means that we've created a level system. Somebody else, a teacher, an aide, or somebody else can walk in our shoes and implement this without any question or little understanding. And with having said that, That brings up a point. We're creating these level systems for our students to help them out. Um, but we should also keep in mind that while we're creating this level system may have to follow the student into the next classroom, to the next grade, with the next teacher, and possibly, such as in our school, all the way up till they graduate. So keep in mind when you're creating your intervention, your level systems, that while you're creating it, it has to go to the next person. So try not to create something that they can't implement when a student gets there, because then the student fails as the teacher can't implement the system and they have to start all over and redesign something else. Winding up the 7 dimensions, it's conceptually systematic. The procedures for changing behavior must be described in terms of relative principles from which they were derived. So that is our procedure for creating our level system, how it works, how it is applied, what the students can achieve, what they can select if they get their required points for their rewards. Effective, the behavior technique should in fact improve the behavior sought to change. Does our level system affect their behavior? Is their behavior improving? Generality, a skill or behavior that can be demonstrated across multiple settings over time and spreads to a variety of different behaviors. So is our level system in general going to create a behavior that the students are going to be able to use within our classroom, somebody else's classroom, other settings within the school? These 2 researches, these are the guys that I kind of followed in my research, Cancio and Johnson. This first one right here is one of their original articles. It does not have as much information as this one does. I chose this one to focus more on. It talks about students with emotional behavior, the use of the level systems, where they originated, as I had talked about earlier. It goes down through and tells you how to develop your system. They give you a neat little score sheet level, which is pretty structured. Myself, after looking at it, because my school implements a daily behavior sheet, something similar to this, but this requires a little more structure, and I don't know that I could actually implement it within my classroom with the 5 students I have. It's almost seems to be designed for a more one-on-one type of setting where the teacher could work with one specific student in mind. As you scroll on down, you will find that they have given you a behavioral description of target behaviors also. So they can give you the target behavior, if you're prompt and ready, behavior, the student must be prepared for class, and then you get examples of what that behavior should look like. Having all materials, showing up for class on time, being ready to learn. Which I think is a neat little thing to have as you're designing your level systems. So you're not struggling to come up with behaviors and examples of what they should be doing. It helps assist you design your level system. It goes on to tell you how to determine your points, how to set up your rewards, and then it gives you the 4 levels that you can use. You can increase the levels, you can decrease the levels, but they just kind of use a random 4-level system. This seems like most of them do, and it gives you the privileges that they can earn in each level. Now our behavior sheet in our school pretty much uses or utilizes most of these, except for getting the can of soda, doing the homework pass because we do not do homework, and buying off-campus meals or lunches. But other than that, we implement most of these throughout today, more towards IEP goals as their breaks and stuff that they need, other than the daily behavior sheet though. Here they give you a reinforcer menu, so it's an example of how to set up your level system towards the points that you want to try to have your student obtain. They have to get 450 points to read a book. That could be within a day, 2 days, a week, however you determine to set it up. And they might need another 450 points to advance to the next level. So there is a reinforcement menu. Again, you can find a lot of these on the internet. There are plenty of examples out there how to set up your level system if you want to do so. And as you read on down, it gives you the conclusion of the level system, what they thought were the findings. Most people tend to think that level systems are outdated and are not effective with the following idea, and that are some of the challenges to level system, as a lot of newer staff think that they are outdated, and since you are designing a level system particular for students with EBD, then they tend to say that you're segregating these students, which goes against the idea of creating individualized instruction and management, and therefore they say they are teacher controlled instead of being student self-management ideas. Okay, next one I have is mystery motivators, and I just thought this was a neat little add-on to what the level systems are. They talk about mystery motivators, PBS. We have PBS in our school, but all of our staff are not trained, so it's only like a modified PBS. But they get down here and they talk about the mystery motivator. A mystery motivator is basically same thing as a level system. That's just another word they use for it. And to get them on task is a computerized level system where either the teacher sets the computer to make a signal, or the students go to the computer and record their own behaviors. These seem to not work as well, because if the students forget or the computer doesn't get set to emit the signal, they find that the students go immediately back to their off-task or inappropriate behaviors more so quickly than with the level systems. And the next one is research on teachers, thoughts about level systems. It's kind of a neat little breakdown, the perspective that teachers have on level systems. It's kind of a 50-50. Some teachers think they're outdated, but yet a lot of teachers still use them, especially with students with EBD, because they seem to have a better control on the behaviors and get them modified. The only thing is, it has to be a constant thing in the student's daily routine. The two videos I have, the first one is an example of a teacher in a classroom. They're exaggerating their behaviors. See if you can pick them out. The second one is a really good example of a teacher implementing a level system with points. He gives the students expectations from what he expects as soon as they come in the classroom. They give a thumb up or a thumb down if they think they got their points. If they're not sure, then they give a thumb sideways, and then the teacher makes the determination if they got their points or not. I will not show these because simply just added up, they're both probably about 15 minutes total to watch both of them. The two sheets down here are in the document. I printed them here because I thought they might show a little better than what's in the document, but the document turned out better than what I thought it would. Same with this one. And the last page here is my resources for the data that I read and collected. And I thank you for viewing, and if you have any questions, please contact me further.